Welcome to my podcast, Life with Denise, sharing inspiring conversations and heartfelt wisdom. Follow online at denisepettit.com, YouTube at Denise Pettit, and Instagram at Denise Pettit. Grit. That's a word we hear a lot lately. What does grit mean to you? I think grit can be called triumphant fortitude. That means nothing knocks you down permanently. You have survived challenges. And if you're still here, then you have survived and you have grit. Welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome for the very first time. You've picked the right episode to start with. I'm Denise, and this is Life with Denise. Think about the last time something knocked you flat on your face. Maybe it was a job, a relationship, a goal you set January 1st that was all forgotten by January 15th. Maybe it was just a Tuesday that felt like the whole world had it out for you personally. Got it? Good. Now hold that feeling. Now, what did you do next? That answer, that's everything. That is what we're talking about today. Today's episode is all about grit. But not in some vague, inspirational poster kind of way, because grit isn't just a buzzword. It's not something you either have or you don't. It's actually a skill, a practice, a choice you can make. Sometimes you have to make that choice hourly. We're unpacking two powerful ideas today. Grit, which can stand for grit requiring inner toughness. That's your mindset. Then there's grow, rise, impact, and thrive. That's the roadmap. Let's go. So what is grit really? Psychologist Angela Duckworth, who literally wrote a book on this, defines grit as passion and perseverance toward long-term goals. Passion can come and go. Passion is like the spark. Grit is the fuel that keeps burning when the spark dies out. Here's the truth. When things get uncomfortable or boring, it gets hard. And our brains are wired to protect us from discomfort. But here's what separates the people who make it from the people who almost made it. And that is inner toughness. Not loudness, not aggression, not grinding yourself into dust. But inner toughness is quiet. It's the voice inside that says, not today, when everything else is screaming, just give up. In the Bible, in James chapters 1 and verses 2 and 3, it says to consider it pure joy when you face trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Well, I'm not always thrilled about my trials. How about you? I know, though, that when I'm on the other side of a trial, I see a different perspective. That struggle is connected to the development of inner fortitude. The idea that grit is forged through difficulty, but it's not given in spite of it. That's the essence of grit. So we can talk about it in this way. Think about a bamboo tree. You plant it, you water it, and for 4 years, you see nothing. Nothing breaks the surface. Nothing to show for all that effort. And then in year 5, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. Was it doing nothing for 4 years? Absolutely not. It was building roots. Deep, unshakable, anchored roots. That's inner toughness. That's grit. Grit requires inner toughness. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect, because they never will be, but right now, in the mess, in the middle, in the moment when no one's watching, and quitting would be the easiest thing in the world. These are the 4 pillars: grow, rise, impact, and thrive. Okay, so we've defined what. Now let's talk about the how. Because the inner toughness without direction is just stubbornness. Now, we're not here for stubborn. We're here for strategic, intentional, purposeful grit. That's where our acronym comes in. GRIT. Grow, rise, impact, and thrive. Think of these as 4 stages, maybe 4 gears, if you will, in your journey toward becoming someone who doesn't just survive the hard stuff, but is literally built by it. So the first one is grow. Growth is the foundation. And I'm going to be real with you. Growth is the least glamorous stage. Growth looks like failure. Growth looks like embarrassment. Growth looks like being the worst person in the room and showing up anyway. Sometimes we call it the growth mindset, the belief that your abilities aren't fixed, that struggle is a signal, not a verdict. That every time you fail, your brain is literally rewiring itself, building new pathways, getting stronger. We've already talked about that on a previous episode. So when you're in the grow stage, your only job is to stay in the game. Don't worry about being the best. Don't worry about looking polished. Just keep going. Ask yourself daily, what did I learn today that I didn't know yesterday? That question alone will transform your life. And the R stands for rise. Rise. Rise is where things get really interesting, because rising doesn't mean everything got easy. Rising means you got better at handling hard. You know the saying, it's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get up. That's true, but I'm going to add this. It's also about how fast you get up, how fast you pivot, and how smart you get up. Pivot quickly. Rising is about learning from every setback and coming back with more information, more strategy, more self-awareness. It's the boxer who loses a round and just goes in the corner to adjust everything. It's the entrepreneur who launches, fails, pivots, and comes back stronger. Rising requires one thing above all else: resilience with reflection. Don't just bounce back, but bounce back better. Ask yourself after every stumble, what would I do differently? What did this reveal about me? Because your setbacks aren't just speed bumps in the road. They're a time to reflect and take what you've learned and then use that experience. Now, the I stands for impact. Once you've grown through the struggle and risen through the setbacks, you naturally start to affect the world around you. This is where grit goes from being personal to powerful. See, inner toughness isn't just for you. When you show up with grit, when you keep your word, when you stay the course, when you refuse to let difficulty define you, people notice. You become a living example of what's possible. You become the proof of concept for someone else who's about to quit. Impact isn't always about going viral or leading thousands. Sometimes impact is being the person in someone's life who says, I believe you can do this, and meaning it, because you know what it took for you, and your grit gives others permission to find theirs. That's what we call impact. And finally, the T stands for thrive, not survive, not cope, not kind of like white knuckle your way through another week, but thriving is what happens when grit becomes your identity. When perseverance stops being a struggle and starts being a superpower. When you look back and realize, those hard seasons, they didn't break me, they actually made me. Thriving doesn't mean life gets perfect. It means you get so good at navigating imperfection that you stop being afraid of it. You lean into challenges because you know from experience that you're going to come out on the other side more capable, more confident, more you. Thriving is that bamboo in year 5. All that growth finally breaking through the surface, finally visible, finally unstoppable. Here's a challenge I want to leave you with. 3 things. Simple, actionable, starting today. Identify your bamboo. What is the one thing in your life right now where you've been putting in unseen work? Name it, own it, recommit to it. 2, find your grit trigger. When things get hard, what's the phrase or the memory, the song, the image that pulls you right back into that fight mode? Find it, write it down, put it somewhere where you're going to see it. And 3, find someone to trust to tell about your goals and your grit. Accountability is grit's best friend. Share your goal with one person this week. Say it out loud, make it real. Because grit isn't just something you feel, it's something you do every day. The world doesn't need more people who have it easy. The world needs more people who have had it hard and keep going anyway. People who feel the fear and take the next step. People who get knocked down and choose to rise. People who build something in the dark and trust that the light is coming. Grit requires inner toughness. Grow, rise, impact, and thrive. These are not just acronyms, they're lifestyles. And that's a legacy. You've got this. I believe that. Now go, make sure you believe it too. Until next time, stay gritty, stay grounded, and keep building those roots. Share this episode with a friend. Let me know of the times you've developed grit and how you've used the experiences. This is Life with Denise. I'm Denise, and I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, grow, rise, impact, and thrive. Thank you for listening to Life with Denise, sharing inspiring conversations and heartfelt wisdom. Follow online at denisepettit.com, YouTube at Denise Pettit, Instagram at Denise Pettit. See you next time.